Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip where somebody says I may be fat, but I have pretty privilege. We're also going to be taking a look at a couple of bonus clips centered around the concept of pretty privilege and fatness. Where do these two intersect? Stick around to find out. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
If you're someone who's pretty or socially deemed attractive,
there's a lot of talk about pretty privilege on this app, but I don't hear people talking about how wild it is to have pretty privilege while you're fat.
Okay, yeah, I've never heard anybody talk about how wild that is either.
Because baby, you can definitely have pretty privilege while you're fat.
Okay, and you have it. Is this just going to be this person trying to fluff themselves up for like 5 minutes?
Not gonna lie to you guys, it is harder. It is definitely harder for us, and you're gonna have people who you just cannot budge.
What? How is it pretty privilege if there are people that you just can't budge? It sounds like you're trying to get something for free or you're begging or something, and a lot of people aren't into it. Some people my pretty privilege just won't work on. They just won't budge. What are you trying to do?
But it can be done. I've been given free drinks. I've been given access to places that normally bigger people would not be allowed to have access to.
Oh yeah? And it's because of your pretty privilege or because you were like begging people for stuff until they finally reluctantly gave it to you? Free drinks and this and that?
I have had, special treatment. It's definitely possible, but you have to be dressed to the nines, smell good, look good, everything's got to be done. I hate that it has to be that way, but unfortunately that's just the way it is.
Okay, so what is pretty privilege to you then? You were saying before, like getting a free drink, getting access to places that normally people wouldn't have access to, but then you said you really have to work for it. So you're just going around asking people for free stuff, and if they reluctantly give it to you, you're like, that's because I was pretty. That's my pretty privilege kicking in. Hey bartender, can I have a free drink? What? No. Come on. No, I can't just give out free drinks, then I'll have to give a free drink to everybody. Come on, I'm pretty. Look at my hair. Smell me. Don't I smell good? Come on. No, lady, you're annoying. Get the hell out of here. Come on. You know you want to give me a free drink? Come on. No. Come on. All right, fine. Here's a free drink. Take it and get the heck out of here. Yes, thank you, pretty privilege.
Do live in a little bit of Delulu, but I have this
You do live in a little bit of Delulu? Was that what you just said? Because I think you're reading everybody's mind here. Let's hear it again.
Do live in a little bit of Delulu.
Do live in a little bit of Delulu. Okay, so she's saying to believe in yourself to a delusional level or what? In order to get the pretty privilege, you gotta be fairly delusional.
But I have this reality check that every time I walk through a door, usually people are very attracted or completely disgusted. And
it's weird that you're so caught up on that. And also, that's typically how it goes for anybody. People are either attracted to you or they're not. Maybe they're not necessarily disgusted, but those are typically the two options. You're into it or you're not.
And I can usually suss them out and figure it out, but most of the time it really just depends on where I'm at. If I'm in New York, usually most of the time I'm good there, which is why I love going there.
Okay, so your pretty privilege works in New York. Gotcha.
But
does it work in Alabama?
It's, I just came from Miami, and realistically, I know my pretty privilege, it has a limit.
Is it really pretty privilege then? Okay, so in New York, you could get things that you want for free. In Miami, they don't care. They're not into it. I don't think this person is talking about pretty privilege. I think they're just talking about trying to get stuff for free from people. You go to the club with your shirt halfway down here and hey, give me a free drink. In New York, they're all right, fine, here's a freaking drink, get away from me. In Miami, no, get the hell out of here. Nobody gets a free ride in Miami, buddy. Or maybe they're just fatphobic over there.
It definitely has a limit. I know that
Then it's not pretty privilege if it has a limit.
there's certain areas that they're just not going to let me in, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you're literally just talking about going to clubs and getting in or getting free drinks. All you know in this life is going to stupid clubs and drinking, apparently.
But I still push it. I still try to see, like, how far can I really get? And you guys would be very surprised. Like, there's still times that I have not had to pay for a single thing.
Begging. I call that begging. So this isn't really about getting stuff for free. This is about this person getting validation from strangers. Come on, you just keep annoying them until they do it, and then you feel validated and you think that you have pretty privilege. It's really weird. Because she said it doesn't always work, and you gotta try real hard sometimes. So, like, people aren't just giving you stuff because they think you're pretty. You're begging them for stuff until they reluctantly give it to you. They could think that you're pretty, or they could just want you to stop annoying them. Come on, I'm hot. Give me some free stuff. Does this pretty privilege work if half of your entire upper body isn't hanging out? And I'm not saying anybody should give you stuff for free just because half of your body is hanging out. I wouldn't. I've seen that before, honestly, so I'm not impressed. I'm not like these other guys that are like, hey, how's it go? Whoa, this is crazy. Can I buy you a drink? I'm not like that. I enjoy female anatomy as much as the next guy, but you're not getting anything for free from me, buddy.
Moral of the story is you probably have pretty privilege and you're not even using it. Push those limits.
I don't think this is what they meant when they said pretty privilege. Push those limits. I think pretty privilege means when people just treat you better without you having to beg for it. I think.
Have a strong, like, sense of self. That way, if you get rejected or denied or whatever, who
Why would you get rejected if you have pretty privilege?
cares? Who cares? Who you are doesn't change. Your appearance is not going to change. Just try it, and if it works, it works.
Okay, yeah, I don't think you understand what this term means.
And if it doesn't, try it somewhere else, because chances
I knew that I was hot when somebody begrudgingly gave me something for free that I kept begging for.
are you're probably just not in the right place. Okay, bye.
The term privilege itself is moronic, and I've never met an intelligent person who used that phrase. But I think this person doesn't understand what it means in general. If you have pretty privilege, people will just give you stuff. You don't have to beg for it. She's out there telling people, go try to use your pretty privilege. I don't think that's how it works. Next.
Guys, let's talk about some stuff. Address this comment.
Alright, the comment says, interesting you are getting pretty privilege mixed in with the fat phobia.
Because I think that it sort of plays into what I've been seeing a lot on TikTok. So it wasn't until I started this platform that I realized that there was levels of fatness.
You didn't know there were levels of fatness to this. You thought like as soon as you get slightly overweight, you just become 800 pounds.
Where I grew up and where I currently live, the levels of fatness are very different than other parts of the US. And I think that that's a really important thing to remember. And what's considered small fat. And I didn't realize that there was a small fat until I came on the internet. And
Yep, good old internet. It has a lot of useful information on it, but it also has this, so...
I'm very grateful that I was made aware of the distinction.
Me too.
What we see a lot on here, especially because I follow a majority of fat creators and I interact with their content, and so I get a lot of their content. I do not interact with mid-size creators. And the reason for that being is that I think mid-size has really turned into this, it's like this weird in-between of women who think that they are fat even though they fall under standard sizing.
So you don't interact with them, okay?
And I think it's important to remember that there's a big difference between feeling and living. You can feel fat, but living in a fat body is very different.
Right, but who gets to make that distinction? Who's the boss of fatness? Who decides who's fat enough to be oppressed and who's not? Is it Fat Sapphic Bro, your fearless leader? I think we should elect Fat Sapphic Bro to be the unquestioned ruler of the fat spectrum. And then, according to them, if you're not at least a size 20, you ain't even overweight, so... the rest of you can get bent. If you ask larger people who is fat and who is not, they're gonna tell you like, you don't start being fat until a size 18 or 20 or whatever type of stuff, right? If you ask a thinner person where fat starts, they're gonna have a much lower number. So this is very subjective.
I have always lived in a fat body. It might not look like that to other people who are larger than me because
See? Exactly, yeah. Other people that are larger than you are gonna be like, oh, you're skinny.
I am considered a small fat, but where I was at, I was considered fat. No small fat, no big fat. I was just fat. So I was treated as a fat person. I'm 16 plus since I was 14. The smallest size that I've ever been was a 14 a few
Okay, so you don't know oppression.
years ago when I lost a little bit of weight just due to stress and life changes. But I've never ever been below that. And so I've never considered myself mid-size.
All right, just a moment ago, you said you don't follow mid-size creators, and now you've said that you have been down to a size 14. So what are we calling mid-size here? Okay, according to the fatness spectrum, a mid-fat is 20 to 24. But you're talking about mid-size. That must be below a small fat. A small fat is 18 and lower.
I am now a 16, 18, 1X, 2X. In plus sizing, I consider myself a plus size person.
Before, when you were a 14, I think you were mid-size. I don't know what mid-size is, but I think it's around a 14 to 16 or something. I couldn't find it. I was just on fluffykittenparty.com, and they don't talk about mid-size. The smallest they go is small fat, which is an 18. I know, I'm entertaining a lot of these ideas.
That, however, does not negate the fact that I have privilege in the size and body that I am in.
Privilege meaning that you have it better than some other people. Everybody has it better than somebody, so privilege is a moronic idea.
One thing I wanted to touch on, especially giving like this comment, is the fact that I do have a lot of privileges even just by looking the way that I do. Being just a hot piece of ass. No, I'm kidding, but genuinely, I don't
think it's a good look to call ourselves pretty and say that we have privilege.
get the same amount of hate that some other creators get because of the way that my body is proportioned. I have been lucky enough that I haven't been extremely bullied or any of that. And I think it took me being on the internet to really realize that, like, yes, I have my traumas and I have my experiences, and that's not taking away from that, but it's my job as a content creator to make it aware to other people that look like me and people who are larger than me that I care and I'm aware that I have a certain type of privilege.
So to pander to the people that are larger to you and let them know, yo, I'm actually chill, you're gonna go ahead and put yourself down a lot to make them feel better. Guys, I know I don't have it as bad as you. I have pretty privilege. Can I still hang out at the fat acceptance party or what? A race to the bottom. Classic.
And I make space for those who don't have that privilege. And I will try to speak
Oh yeah? How do you do that? If somebody gives you special treatment, you're like, hey, let my friend Ursula in here too. Sorry, Ursula.
on issues for them because it matters. Anyway, I don't know what like the best thing to say or do is, but I want people to know that like getting more knowledge isn't a bad thing. And if someone calls you out for stealing somebody else's content when you're not an actual plus size person, don't take it so personally.
Well, I don't think I stole your content by providing commentary to it. Alright, so we're never getting that 2.5 minutes back, I'm sorry. Now we're going to be taking a look at a clip where somebody is explaining all the fat problems that thin people know nothing about.
Here's a few things that skinny people don't have to worry about. Since that one girl was acting like it was hip and trendy to be fat,
Who did that?
whether or not you're going to be able to fit in a seat in an amusement park.
This could also be called red flags that I am currently ignoring.
I go to Disney a lot because I know I fit in the rides. I haven't been to Universal yet, despite wanting to go so bad, because I'm scared
They all do this crab claw of redemption thing. What's up with that?
of losing money for no reason because I couldn't ride anything.
If you can't fit into roller coasters at an amusement park, that might be some kind of sign.
Seating, literally anywhere. On an airplane, do I need a seatbelt extender? Hope not. Arenas. I'm talking to you, Bridgestone Arena. Some of the most
Calling out Bridgestone Arena. Get dunked on, Bridgestone.
uncomfortable seats I've ever been in my life. The armrests sit mid-thigh on me, and then my other thighs are just hanging off into the other seats next to me, and then no.
Well, that's real fun for the people sitting next to you, huh? It's weird to make a list of struggles that you have as a larger person that thinner people don't have to worry about, and not see it as some sort of wake-up call.
One's comfortable, me or the people next to me.
Yeah, that's real nice.
Is there a point in me walking in this store because are they even going to have anything my size for me to try on? I went to Forever 21 on Black Friday with a friend one year. The entire store was 20% off except for upstairs. What was upstairs?
The plus sizes?
The plus size section.
I love how they put it upstairs. Was there no elevator or escalator either? They made you have to walk upstairs to get there? Mwah! That's some of the most fat-phobic architecture I've ever heard of.
Oh yeah, another thing we have to worry about. Paying extra for plus size clothing. You see it in a normal size? It's this much. You see it in the plus size option? $5, $10 more.
Yeah, it's more fabric, it's a different process, it's harder to make. You can't wrap your mind around this garment being larger and therefore costing more. Dude, how come this fun-sized Snickers costs less than this full-size Snickers? What's going on here? How can you not see how one would cost more? What?
And don't give me the bullshit needs more fabric excuse. Shut the fuck up.
Well, you shut my dumb ass up. Don't give her that excuse. Just shut the F up. That's a very valid argument.
I wanted to go skydiving when I was in Australia.
Oh boy, here we go.
And I had to look up if it had a weight limit. I didn't
You're like, this parachute is fat-phobic.
end up doing it, but that was something I had to consider.
Skydiving would be something that I'd be a little bit nervous about as somebody living in a larger body. You know, things can get real wacky up there. I believe the first few times that you go skydiving, you have to go tandem skydiving or whatever, where the instructor is on your back. So that'd be very interesting for them. Whether or not there's a weight limit for skydiving, which I'm sure there is, things could get a little awkward with this dude straddling your back. Normally, he's like basically spooning you, I guess. But if you're larger, how's he gonna spoon you? He's all flopping around back like, I'm trying to hold on to you. Like, instead of like being this way when you skydive, because you know how you go like this, you put your arms back like, oh, like this. Like, instead of that, you just start rolling and stuff.
But that was something I had to consider. Those are just a few things I can think of off the top of my head. If you
And whose fault is all of this? Is it the fault of the thin people? I think so.
can think of more, comment them, please. Because I think it's good to educate people and just have average
It is good to educate people, and they always appreciate it so much.
sized or smaller people kind of sit back and think about the fact that size is a privilege.
Well, you know, I am the size that I am because of my own actions, so I don't know if I'd say it's a privilege. If you are in poor health because of your own doing, that doesn't mean that everybody else who is not in poor health has privilege. They just made better life decisions than you. Do I have sober privilege because I'm choosing not to drink? No, all these terms are stupid, and trying to compare who has it worse is moronic. Like I said, it's a race to the bottom. I have it worse. No, I have it worse. No, I have it worst of all.
And there are a lot of instances of things that plus size people have to worry about that they don't.
Right, but you put yourself where you are. All these sober people have the privilege of not going through alcohol withdrawals. Yeah, because they chose not to drink. You could have chose that too, but you didn't. You chose this, so here you are.
So,
Alright, so that was crazy. So what do you think of the clips that we just watched? Is it possible to still have pretty privilege while being overweight? Should we not follow mid-size creators because they're not even a small fat? And finally, do you have thin privilege if you can fit in a roller coaster at an amusement park? Personally, I think if you made good life decisions that resulted in you not being obese, that's not a privilege, that's just the result of your actions. You have the physique that you did or did not work for. 100% you. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.